Aloha Wahinis. Click the links to send me some art that I can use for the channel. I'd like to see what you guys come up with. I'm going to try to rip through 2 books today. One is, I'm just going to kind of go through it quickly because it's by Mark Waid, and there's not much to say about it other than it's by Mark Waid, and it's really, really bad. The other one by Sina Grace. Basically, Sina Grace and Mark Waid can't help themselves. It's like they have a genetic predisposition to douchebaggery. They cannot keep their propaganda out of their garbage comics. It's like they drop a bit of poison in a soup. Not only do I not want the soup, but these idiots shouldn't be cooking. And yet they keep getting jobs. It's a strange industry where these 2 idiots are accepted members. Whatever industry these ideologues go into, they are going to destroy. Sina Grace talked shit about his old employers, and Mark said Mark shut it down. Waid couldn't stand the thought of a veteran writing comic books. Only he's allowed to do that. Because remember that the strong protect the weak. Oh, God, what a douchebag that guy. I cannot stand Mark Waid. And Mark Waid claims that he has such broad shoulders so he can protect marginalized and oppressed people. Mark Waid is a 50-year-old obese writer. But whatever, just live in fantasy land, Mark. Mark Waid, bring Richard Meyer to me now. Why, Mark? What are you gonna do? You fat fucking douchebag. What are you gonna do? Mark Waid, you're about 250 pounds, and seriously, honestly, you're probably about 75 pounds overweight of just pure lard. If you got excited about anything, you're just gonna have a heart attack. What would you do if you confronted one of these Comicsgate guys? Confront Tug or Yellow Flash or Meyer or Ethan. What would you do? What would you do? Fucking nothing, you fat pussy. Okay, now I have to do a language warning on this. Sorry, guys. Whenever I think about Mark Waid, I just it is hard. It is really hard not to drop some 4-letter words when thinking about Mark Waid. This is Invisible Woman. It's just stupid. It's just a stupid. She is both Invisible Woman and Ghosted in LA, number 5. I think they're both number 5. They suck. But to be fair, they are meant for a very limited female audience. Females don't buy a whole lot of comic books. But that isn't a problem because comics just go for a dozen issues, then they get canceled. Then they get, oh God, okay, more pandering. Oh, can you see this? Let me see if this is the one black guy in the comic is on the this private jet. I don't know, Kareem here, and he saves the day with a fire extinguisher because he's black, and he's in a comic. He's in a Mark Waid comic, which means, well, you know, he's gonna save the day. Yeah, this stuff, it sells, it gets canceled, then it gets rebooted because there are collectors who buy number 1 issues because they buy these issues for $4 or $5 and then they can sell them for $20 a little bit later on. Okay, I mean, the collectors are kind of part of the problem. They're just keeping this industry going. The whole while, comic book stores continue to close because idiots like Mark Waid are keeping Comicsgate comics out of stores. And to be fair, they're just garbage racism and misandry. It's just, they cannot not be racist. Hey, can you guys just leave the racism and the sexism just alone for a couple years? Just let the industry kind of bounce back a little bit.
No, I don't think we can do that. I just don't think I can do that. I'm Mark Waid. I've got broad shoulders.
Mark, you're 250 pounds. You're clearly obese. You're grossly obese or morbidly obese, whatever. What did Mark Waid say in his deposition? Something like white supremacy has a very broad definition. Don't say it, Bianca. Just move on. So what Mark is saying is, if you disagree with Mark Waid, you're a German from the 30s. Does Mark Waid know how effing insane he is? No, just that's the thing with NPCs, is that they aren't self-aware. They never got that upgrade. They spend all day on Twitter tilting at windmills that they think are dragons. Some of them know that there are virtue signaling, and they just want to keep their jobs. But there are a lot of true believers out there. Mark Waid, Al Ewing, Sina Grace, Dan Slott, they loathe Christians. They hate the beautiful people of the light. And they always follow the trope that blonde, red-haired, Christian man bad, Muslim Jew good. The weird thing about them is that they are so heavy-handed. Literally 100% of the bad guys look like they're from Germany or the UK. Not 90%, 100%. Hey guys, you're not exactly subtle here. If it was any other group of people, Bleeding Cool would lose their mind. Imagine, well, I won't say it. I won't say that. I'll just skip over that. So much on YouTube has to remain unsaid. Let me put it this way. In mainstream comics, the gangs are always going to be blue-eyed blondes. Now, white gangs in America are underrepresented by about 1,000 to 1 by black and brown gangs. So doesn't it seem funny that there are no black and brown gangs in mainstream comics? Doesn't anyone think that's unusual? It would be like if every car in the comics was a steam-powered museum piece. But comic book readers are so used to this nonsense, they don't even bother mentioning it. But not old Bianca. I love to notice things that make everyone uncomfortable. Hey, Sina, why did you make the good girl Jewish and the intolerant bigot Christian? He keeps, let me flip over to that one. This is at the end of Invisible Woman. It's just whamming, doing whamming things, whamming. That's it. That's the whole thing. Thanks, Mark Waid. You suck balls. She's ghosted in L.A. by Sina Grace and some other crew of idiots, number 5. This is the Thick Thighs, Save Lives, the protagonist. I want you to take a look at the art in this first couple pages. This is bizarrely bad. This is like Mags of Sazio level bad. Is that done on purpose to be like a dream sequence bad? Look at the foreshortening in the character. That's a trip. That is, whoa, that's bad. That is bad. That is, I'm no artist, but I mean, I know what doesn't look like it should be. Okay, this is, can you see this? Is this like Pablo Picasso art or something? What? That's weird. Yeah. People talk about saving comics, and Vlad would need to prepare steaks for everyone in mainstream comics. Do I put that in the video? Why not? I can only hope that Gail Simone doesn't report it to Mark. Yes, Gail Simone watches Comicsgate videos. Apparently, she has a lot of free time between writing whatever low-selling book she's writing. I don't remember what she's currently working on. I know it's going to be Blonde Man Bad, because all of her books are. All of them. Those steaks might have to be extra thick because Mark and Gail are both about 300 pounds. Sina Grace would probably be able to handle the steak no problem. And that's what will get me kicked off YouTube. Whatever. We all knew it was only going to be a matter of time. Mark Waid can write crap like this, like Invisible Woman, because it doesn't sell, but it doesn't matter. He's a millionaire. He's a Malibu, I think. He is set for life from his residuals, royalties, that kind of stuff. Maybe Sina Grace is also independently wealthy. Invisible Woman number 1 shipped 64,000 issues. By number 3 it was down to 28,000. Ghost number 1 started at 7,000. Number 3 it's down to 2,000. Both those sale figures suck. But the comics are written to suck. They aren't written to be a fun story that will sell. Sina's comic talks about the patriarchy. Patriarchy and Christian bad. And the Jewish girl is good. And it's weird because the Christian girl has kind of whiter skin and the Jewish girl has kind of browner skin. And it's Christian bad, Jew good, but like 99% of the Jews I know are just as pale as Irishmen, so I'm not quite sure where Sina was coming from. And Sina himself is pale as an Irishman. Oh, and the Jewish girl's friend is, of course, some Latina from somewhere, or Middle Eastern or something, because, you know, Jews and Muslims get along really, really well. Right, Sina? Right, you fucking idiot. So this stuff, if you're including stuff about the patriarchy and... this dude is going to get butt humped by a ghost. I have nothing against gay people. I'm no Doug Tennapel or Mike Miller or Ethan Van Sciver. I love the gays. I'm a proud member of the LGBTCG community. My gender just happens to be Comicsgate. But this is just kind of like, this is, you're limiting your audience when you do this, like, explicitly gay stuff. I mean, what are they going to do? They're in bed. He's going to like shoot a ghost load all over his face or something. Not many people want to see two guys in a position of like about to kiss. It's not. I mean, you're talking about like 1% of the audience is into that. And the thing is, it's a limiting reagent sort of in comic books, because the people who are not into it are not going to be into this, not be into the comic book at all. I mean, there's a couple. Okay, that's an interesting point. There are a couple of limiting reagents. If I remember my chemistry from about 1 million years ago, in this comic book where it's an automatic shutoff for people. When you say the patriarchy, something about there's one of these scenes where she talks about the Mary Sue. See, now this is a much easier sell than two guys, two cute chicks together teaching how to play guitar. But there's a scene where she talks about there are no strings in that upper image and there are strings in the lower image. That's weird. There are scenes where, okay, the gay scene, that's a no-go for most people. She talks about the patriarchy in one of these scenes. She mentions the Mary Sue and being, I don't know, something for strong women. And the thing is, the story is not, it has had a lot of potential. It gets to the end of the story and there's a scene where she's a ghost, she's dealing with ghosts, but there's a door that the ghost cannot go through. That's interesting. You have my interest, but I wouldn't read this for fun, because you got talking about the patriarchy, you have the gay sex, and you have this the anti-Christian, Jewish good, Christianity bad. And my experience is not. And my God, you even give her a scar on her face, and every image of the Christian is her scowling. And in my experience, Christians have been the most tolerant, kind people, and you're making them out to be these intolerant bigots. If you compare the three Abrahamic religions, you read the New Testament, the Jewish literature, and the Islamic books, of those three, the New Testament is the most tolerant towards alternative lifestyles. I mean, literally on paper, you can set 3 books down, and you're talking, the Old Testament. Yeah, those are the Jewish books. The Jewish books, the Muslim books, are completely different from the New Testament. So you're talking about Christian intolerance. It doesn't make sense. I won't go any further than that. I'll just leave it at that. So these sales figures sucks, but the comics are written to suck, right? They're written to sell propaganda. That's obvious propaganda, and it's written by someone with a low IQ. Sina Grace is dumb. Mark Waid is not dumb, but he is, in my opinion, mentally ill. He might be on the spectrum or have borderline personality disorder, but he's more than just a douchebag. There's something organically wrong with him, besides being fat and ugly, which actually seems to be a job requirement in comics. Everyone is fat, ugly, and bald. Sorry, Ethan. Mark Waid is actually all the above: fat, bald, ugly, and legitimately mentally ill. I sort of skipped over, or I should have said, I went light on Invisible Woman, but it just has too much toxic femininity for me. Lots of estrogen, because it's written by a total pussy who looks like he pays for sex. It's just a superpowered person, a vagina, who is stunning and brave. It is so fudging boring. Oh, and the women look like men, which works because they act like men. What can I say? It sucks because it was written by a degenerate. Alright guys, like, comment, subscribe, click the links in the description, send me your art, enter the art contest, hit me up on Patreon, Discord, email, Twitter, because like I say, I've been on there for a month, 2 months, and I'm already on my second strike, so we'll see how that goes. This has 10 times the potential that Invisible Woman has by Mark Waid. Sina Grace has got way more potential. If he just did a few small things, drop the Jewish Christian fighting. There's a few things. If you get the identity politics, the brown girl good, white girl bad, Jew good, Christian bad, the gay ghost, and the male homosexuality, that's just a non-starter for most people. If you want to have the girls doing something, that's fine. I know maybe, that's so sexist. That's just reality. That's just how it works. That's how people are wired. So there's a few small things you could fix, but the thing is, you're not writing a book to sell, to make money, to make a living, to buy a house, to raise a family, to, buy stocks and bonds. You're writing propaganda. And I'm assuming Sina Grace is independently wealthy, because that's the only reason I can think of to write this kind of stuff. He's not fat, but he is bald. He's got to be 40s, But he is bald because he always wears a hat. Listen, just shave it. Just shave it off, buddy. Shave it off. Anyway, guys, I will see you next episode. And, catch me on BitChute.